very brief in this broadcast this evening. A lot has happened. There is a breaking news: the death of Issa, one of the Buhari's cabal. He is dead, and you remember when Abba Kaire died, it was a news, and after his death, some of the cabal still remains, and those are the people who are holding Nigeria, to a standstill. So I really want to come to make my broadcast tomorrow. I really want to have a very powerful broadcast tomorrow, but of course the issue at hand, like you all know, requires that we'll come online almost every day. So this evening, it is going to be very brief, very brief broadcast I'm going to do, but I'm going to bring some of the things I want to discuss about to you. But tomorrow will be the main program when I will start live broadcast on time. So you are watching me directly on Facebook. You are watching me directly on YouTube. You are watching me also on Twitter, live and direct. And this is my live broadcast. Like I have always said, it is important we begin to tell the modern generation of global people, of world leaders, of international community, the role the various countries played during the Biafra war, during the Biafra-Nigeria war. You see, people should understand this. Biafra and Nigeria of today is not the same thing like Biafra and Nigeria of 1967. A lot of things have changed, and a lot of things are changing. Nigeria has become a terrorist country in 2020. Nigeria has become a country that sponsored terrorism in 2020. It was not like that in 1967. Nigeria were not ranked among terrorist countries in 1967. Remember, when a country is ranked a terrorist country, it means that it is not just a threat to that particular to the citizens of those countries, but it also threatens the interest of international community. It threatens the interest of America, interest of United Kingdom, interest of EU, interest of Japan, interest of Israel, and so on. So, if Nigeria finally, have their way, like the Fulanis finally have their way to take over Nigeria, it becomes global. Nigeria will become a global threat. It will become a threat to global village. It will become a threat to America, just like as it is now. It is already a threat to all these nations that we're mentioning. And it was not like that in 1967. This is what people should know. So when you are hearing the interest of America, the interest of British, the interest of EU in Nigeria, or they have their business, they have their interest, they must protect it. Believe me, these people are human beings. They think like us Biafrans. These Europeans, these Americans, they are human beings. They think like us. They are very, very articulative. They foresee the future. They estimate, and they are innovative. So they know what Nigeria would be, and even before now, they know Nigeria is going to be what it is today. So, and where are their business interests is going to be protected. The business interest is going to be protected in a disintegrated Nigeria. The business interests of these people are going to be protected in Oduduwa land. The business interests of these people are going to be protected in Biafra. Better protected in disintegrated Nigeria than as it is now in Nigeria. Because with the insecurity in Nigeria, with the corruption in Nigeria, their business interest, even whatever profit they are making, is not protected. And people should know this. So when we are talking about disintegration of Nigeria, you think because they are getting something from Nigeria, for that reason, they will never allow Nigeria to disintegrate. It's a lie. It's a lie from the pit of hell. It's a propaganda. It's a lie that is coming from one Nigeria people. It's a lie that is coming from people that are benefiting from the corruption of Nigeria. They will tell you that, that British will not disintegrate you, that British is not interested, that British did this. Yes, they did it. But I have posted a video on my page, even during the war, the same time America were changing their body language, the same time the British government was also about to change their body language. And it was about ending. They were about to end Nigeria. Had it been that the Biafrans hold that fight until they decide that last man standing, believe me, Nigeria would have been divided by now. Nigeria would have been divided. But they did not hold it, and we understand that. We're not blaming them. We are not blaming them because the information, lack of information was the issue. They didn't know what was going on. We don't blame them also for the fact that children were dying of hunger and they don't want to see the children die again. But they don't know that they were already at the crossroad before Gowon began to lobby to see how he would lobby Effiong to submission. And of course, he succeeded because Effiong didn't know what was going on. And a lot of the Biafrans, those who were supposed to represent the interests of Biafra in diaspora in those days, they sabotaged. They sabotaged Ojukwu. They did not tell Ojukwu what was going on in their various places. They did not tell Ojukwu what was going on in America. They didn't tell Ojukwu what was going on in the UK and all that. They all went there to sabotage the struggle for Biafra. So, the issue here is this. When we talk about Nigeria disintegration, people should understand that these nations, these world powers that have business interest in Nigeria today, their business interests will be more protected in disintegrated Nigeria than in the current Nigeria. That is number one. Now, I want to show you this video. One moment. You see, when a lot of people I want you to watch this video now. Is on my page. You can go there and watch it. But I want to play it, and then after that I will continue with the secret document of the United States on Biafra.
Supplying the federal side with weapons. Their aim was to protect Britain's oil interests in Nigeria. In the former 60s, Britain's former colonies were being torn apart by civil 60s, many of Britain's former colonies were being torn apart by civil war. In Nigeria, the federal government were fighting a vicious campaign to stop Biafra from seceding. The British government was secretly supplying the federal side with weapons. Their aim was to protect Britain's oil interests in Nigeria. But the Sunday Telegraph printed an internal government report which exposed this, and there was an outcry. The man who leaked the report was an idealistic young journalist, Jonathan Aitken.
If you had known in advance how much trouble it would have caused, would you once again have passed on that report to the Sunday Telegraph?
Well, my goodness, that's a difficult question. I think the answer really is this, that given that situation of that ghastly war going on, and given the fact that I believed I received that information in good faith, I think it was my duty as a journalist and indeed as a citizen of this country to pass on that information. So I think the real answer is yes, I would do it again.
There were protests throughout Africa. Britain was seen as helping the Nigerian government to pursue a policy of genocide. The scandal also split opinion in Britain.
Should we stop sending arms to Nigeria? Whether this would have any effect or not, should we stop sending them now?
Yes.
Hugh Fraser.
To my mind, it's a very simple, and the answer is yes. The alternative is
You see, somebody said that I got it wrong, that British interests and American interest strive more in corrupt Nigeria. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a total lie. It doesn't strive in a corrupt Nigeria. Rather, the Nigeria people that are corrupt are the one that is benefiting from the corruption of Nigeria. So it is not the other way around. The interest of this business, in American business, is better in a more civilized, less corrupt society. You see, when you say it is a lie, I will explain something to you. When you go to the global market, investment, if you are somebody who are into investment, into capital market and whatever, if you are somebody who is an investor, you find out that there is what you call Africa service. You can have this Africa service. You can call it the different banks. They have this kind of different investment plan. When you choose Africa investment plan, the risk of investing in Africa is very high than the risk in investing in other nation or other continent. So the risk of investing in Africa is very high, and when you are investing in Africa, there is also the risk of losing your money if you invest in the capital market. So people are high risk countries, and of course those who want to invest there, they just want to gamble. It's not like they are doing it as a business, as their daily business or their main business. So they do it as a side business. But then investing means that you are ready to take the risk. So people prefer to invest in countries that have, that the risk is not high. Of course, the turnout or the turnover on the income may be a little bit low, but then with a secured mind, with good mind, you don't have to be afraid that you are losing your money, because if you invest in Africa, in Nigeria, for example, you are going to be losing your money. There is a high risk of lose your money, and at the same time you can make profit. You can make a better profit. But the fact is that for biggest or the most smart and brilliant investors, they go in those kind of investment that they don't need to risk their capital. They don't need to risk their capital. They still make the money as little as it is, but it will be concurrently and running and all that. So you don't need to fear that you are going to lose your money. But if you invest in Nigeria, if you go into this kind of African service and you choose Nigeria, for example, and all that, you are going to be losing your it was wrong to say that America interest is protected in a disintegrated Nigeria, that it was wrong to say that. Then it means you don't know how the politics works. You don't know the international politics. You don't know how these investors think. You need to know how investors think. You need to know how the policies work for you to be able to come to this kind of conclusion. What I'm saying now, that their interest is better in a disintegrated Nigeria. First of all, the Nigeria of today, the security issues in Nigeria today affect their business. Apart from the corruption, so that Nigeria is not a terrorist country is already in the red zone for investment. So people don't come there to invest. And when you do not have investment in that your country, the business in that country is crumble. So people, it will not move. And again, remember that America now has oil. So when we are talking about business interest, we should remember that America have oil. America has become the world, one of the largest producer of oil, of natural gas. So we must remember this. So they're not necessarily, the interest of America in Nigeria is not the same as it were in 1967. That is the biggest difference you people should know. So when we talk about, their business interest, America now, it's not, when we talk about American interest, it's not just about the oil. American interest is also about the national security of America. You have so many Nigerians in America. America don't know who is who. America don't know who amongst those Nigerians in America are pro-Islamic or pro-terrorism or pro-Boko Haram or pro-ISIS West Africa. So now, if Nigeria becomes so powerful country that they are sponsoring terrorist attack and all that, America will be the Nigeria target. America will become the target of attack from Nigeria. So on this note, you know, the interest of America is threatened. Nigeria threatened the interest of America. It is not just about the business they have in Nigeria. So when we are talking about this, you people should know, you have to think very broad. It is not just about oil or America business or Nigeria corrupting. Yes, we know that those who are coming to Africa, most of the white people coming to Africa, they are corrupt. But then, the main people that are making policies and decisions are not the ones coming to Africa. Of course, those coming to Africa have influence because they are the one who will tell them, you know, what they have and all that. But then, those making the decision knows exactly what they are making. So when we say it is better protected in a disintegrated Nigeria, it is not just ordinary talk. It is a fact. The business of America, the business of Nigeria, the business of United Kingdom and Europe is more protected, more secured, more valuable in a disintegrated Nigeria than in Nigeria of today. Because there is a lot of things that are now scaring investors away. People cannot invest into their businesses, into that business interest they have in Nigeria because of the high risk. But when you have a secured, you see investors are coming, the business are booming, everything is working. But now everybody is scared. Everybody is scared of Nigeria and running away. Nobody knows what Nigeria is going to be. Nobody knows what is happening. Nobody knows what is going to happen. A lot will happen, you know. So the issue here is that their interest is more protected in a disintegrated Nigeria than the Nigeria of today. Now, I want you to, because I made this comment because of the comment somebody dropped that it is not true that the business interest is protected in a corrupt Nigeria. That's a lie. That's a lie. Because you see, the difference you have to know is that their business here in the West is because of the less, there is corruption, but because of the less corruption in the West, that is why they are able to progress. The same thing will be transferred to a new nation that is breaking out of Nigeria when they have less corrupt society. Everything will move, everything will flourish.
It's proposed by people like Woodrow Wilson to keep up with the Russians. This is morally absolutely intolerable. It's politically inept. Your policy is losing out. You're making a fool of ourselves throughout the world. The people regard... You
see, so during the war, the MP, the person you listen talking now is an MP, you know, they were also debating about possible end, you know, how to end the supply of arms to Nigeria government against Biafra. So all these debates were going on. Of course, this was at the verge of the end of the war. So the people in Biafra did not know what was going on because the people they sent to go and represent Biafra in this place, in this UK and America, they all betrayed. People like Asika, Ekpa Biafra, instead of him to, you know, to stay and represent the interests of his people, he sided Biafra and was lying against Biafra. So that's why you hear this man now, which is an MP, as then you hear this man now, they were about to end this whole thing. This man said that it's a disgrace. It is really unbelievable what the British, or how they have supported Nigeria, and this is insane, morally incorrect, morally wrong, and they were debating it. So for you to understand that the people, the government of this, you know, powerful nations, they were turning against Nigeria, and in all this that was happening, the people of Biafra don't have knowledge of it.
This country with moral obloquy. It's not this merely question. The policy has failed.
If we don't supply arms to the Nigerian government, the Russians are going to go on doing it. The Russians have told the Nigerian government that whatever happens, they're going to see them through to victory. Well, is it wise that we should allow the whole of this vast area, with 52 million people in it, with more oil in it than Kuwait, to fall into the hands of the Russians? I mean, it's absolutely crazy.
You see, that are they going to allow Russia to come and dominate Nigeria and take over Nigeria? Nigeria that has oil more than Iraq and Kuwait combined together. So that according to them, this man now is better that they continue to supply the arms so that Nigeria will not patronize the Russia. But then, this British man don't know that Nigeria is evil. The British man don't know how bad the Fulanis are. The Nigeria Fulanis and the rulers. They ended up going to that Russia. They ended up going to that Russia. All the thing they did to kick Russia away from Nigeria failed. It failed. Nigeria still went to Russia, and they gave the part of the this Steel company. What is it called? The Niger Steel Company, or the Ajaokuta Steel Company. It was being operated by Russians in those days. So, and everything they did, the British did not have hand in that Ajaokuta Steel plant. But Russia, controlled it and owned part of it until they left Nigeria. So, and remember that I have made a broadcast where I was telling you how America was warning Nigeria against Russian involvement in the war. And America was also, having a body language, or changing a body language, even though they continue to maintain that they are only interested in relief to Biafra and all that. Now, for you to understand the body language of America, and this may repeat itself. This may repeat itself, but the point now is that it is not going to be like before. It is going to be totally different thing, like they have never seen. Now, I want to play this to the end.
The federal government won, helped by the British arms. But the resulting scandal...
Now, I want you to listen to something. Here is a U.S. Department of State declassified document. It is a declassified document. It is a telegram of 4th February 1969. 1969. This is the secret document of the United States of America. Foreign Relations, secret document of the United States of America, Interdepartmental Group for Africa. Now, I want to read with me. This paper considers alternative views of U.S. interest in Nigeria and Biafra policy choices open to the U.S. and the political consequences of the relief courses described in this first paper. The national interest, the U.S. has no vital interest in Nigeria or Biafra. Broadly, there are two opposing views of our interest, with many variations designed deliberately to heighten the contrast. This, for those of you who every time about American interest, now I want you to see what I want you to read what America wrote on 4th February 1969 about their major interest in that region, in Nigeria, so that you will understand when we say the American interest is more protected in a disintegrated Nigeria than Nigeria of terrorists. You will understand what we are talking about. You will be able to also lecture other people who may have the same view, the same ignorant view like yours, that you think that yes, Nigeria, that their interest is more protected in Nigeria because of the corruption in Nigeria. It is a lie. It is a lie. It can never be that. The only people that are benefiting from the corruption in Nigeria are the Nigerians, are the corrupt Nigeria politicians. They are the one benefiting more in the corruption of Nigeria. Now I want you to read. So, 1. Designed deliberately to heighten the contrast. These are 1. We have a major interest in the future stability of the region and all Africa. We favor the unity of Nigeria to avoid 1. A blow to the federation likely to fragment it. 2. B. An environment of continuing hostility that will result in an arms race between the fragments. Now, everything America was writing here to avoid. Why America, because America, was writing this is a diplomatic way. Everything America is writing that they want to avoid are all happening today. Everything America tried to avoid are all happening today in 2020. Now, I want you. Let us start from you understand. You will understand this is a secret memo of the United States Department. Now, I want you to read it. Let us read it again so that you understand what I'm saying. You see, starting from here, the national interest. The U.S. has no vital interest in Nigeria or Biafra. Broadly, there are two opposing views of our interest, with many variations, designed deliberately to heighten the contrast. These are as follows. 1. We have a major interest in the future stability of the region and all Africa. We favor unity of Nigeria. Now, the favor unity of Nigeria, like I said, this is a diplomatic talk. Of course, the body language is there, still showing negative on Nigeria. Now, to avoid a blow to the federation likely to fragment it. Now, today, there is already a blow to the federation, and there is also, they have fragmented it. You see, America tried to avoid a blow to the Federation of Nigeria to fragment it. And today, there is already a fragmented Nigeria. There is already a blow to Nigeria Federation. And it is the terrorists, five different terrorist organizations has blown the Federation. What America tried to avoid in 1960, between 1967 and 1970. Now, number B, an environment of continuing hostility that would result in an arms race between the fragments. Now, again, what America tried to avoid between 1967 and 1960 is happening now. They say they try to avoid creating an environment of continual hostility that will result in arms race between the fragments. Now, today, that this is happening. Boko Haram has, is bringing a continual hostility, and that hostility has resulted to the armed fragment. That hostility have resulted to arms race between the different fragments in Nigeria. So what America wrote on the 4th February 1969 is happening now. That is why the number B here is exactly what America tried to avoid in February 1969, and today, this exact word they put here, an environment, they want to avoid creating an environment of continuing hostility that would result in an arms race between the fragments. That is happening today. As I talk today, this is exactly the position of Nigeria without Biafra. Without Biafra war. Without Biafra war. After 50 years after 50 years of Biafra war, this thing that America tried to avoid is happening today. Now, number C. The prospect of great power rivalries. Now, the same thing they want to avoid, the prospect of great power rivalries, is happening today in Nigeria. There is power rivalry, there is great power, including to the military of Nigeria Army. There is a great prospect of this prospect of great power rivalry is no longer a prospect. It is no longer prospect. It is already here. The great power rivalry is already here in Nigeria. It is no, then it was prospect. They tried to avoid it. But today, you have this number C already in Nigeria. The great power rivalry is everywhere. The military, the Fulanese headmen, the Boko Haram, the ISIS West Africa, the Asaru, and the bike herdsmen, and what have you. That is, the power rivalry is there. Bandit everywhere. So, what America tried to avoid is already here in Nigeria. So you see, when we are talking about the interest of America, it will be protected in a disintegrated Nigeria, because what they tried to avoid in 1960s are already now in Nigeria. And they are even not just coming. They are now visible and they are now in charge. and they have taken over Nigeria. That thing they try to avoid. Now, D, a precedent for succession elsewhere. Now, America said, of course, this is the diplomacy, that if they do it, they will create a precedent for succession or in elsewhere. As I'm talking to you today, the North Sudan and South Sudan, you all know how they have been to war. At the end of the day, they got their freedom, they got their independence. Is it not a precedent? Is it not a precedence? Also, you people know also in Ethiopia, they have the conducted referendum in Ethiopia to end ethnic clashes. It is of course, that is within it is internal issue, could be regarded as internal issue, but they solve their problem. Now, I want to tell you, the Soviet Union, it was after America writing this secret document, Soviet Union got disintegrated in 1992. In 1992, the Soviet Union got disintegrated. I think in 1992 or so, they got disintegrated. So is that not a precedent that have already been set? In Yugoslavia got disintegrated. Is it not also a precedent? Now the Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic and Slovakia, they got disintegrated. It was also a precedent that was set. And this were happening after Biafra War. So many years after Biafra War. So that precedent now has been set in so many countries. So it is not just about Biafra, but what America said on the 4th February 1969 has already happened, and all of them are happening today. So America is disappointed. And the present America people, the present government of America, should also, it is our responsibility to let them go back to their secret document and secret memo and see what they wrote about Nigeria, and see how the people in the past, the American people, took Nigeria and Biafra war, what they wrote about Biafra in their secret document. It is our responsibility to let them go into reading it, to know what their people think. And then you compare the Nigeria then and the Nigeria of today. So they will come to a very good decision on their foreign policy that will affect Africa and West Africa and Nigeria, to be precise. It is our responsibility to do that. So now again is number E, opposing the majority of African states on a crucial African issue. You see, so the world is changing. During this time, there were no terrorists. During this time, there were no like the terrorism and all that. There were no this kind of taking over Islamic State and all that. No, Islamic State just came. So an American policy on American foreign policy is changing and changing on daily basis. According to the situation of things globally, the foreign policy changes all the time. So the foreign policy of America against African state or crucial on African affair or an African issue is not the same thing as today, because today you have terrorists in Africa. You have terrorists in West Africa, the terrorists that are capable of planning terrorist attack in America, attacking the national security of America. So now America, the interest of America in this region is under serious threat. So you can't expect them not to delve into African issues. You see? Now, let us continue. This memorandum, this secret document continues. This view does not imply U.S. responsibility for the future of the Federation, which could include military excesses. Now, political repression, civil strife, and other events beyond our control. Now, you see, in 1969, America is telling you the future of Nigeria, and they want to tell you that this does not imply U.S. responsibility for future of the Federation, which could include military excesses. Now, this military excesses is there in Nigeria. Political repression is there in Nigeria. Civil strife is there in Nigeria, and other events beyond their control is also there in Nigeria. Everything here in this memo is now in Nigeria as we see today. You see, military excesses is there in Nigeria. Political repression is there in Nigeria. Civil strife is there in Nigeria. And then other events beyond their control, which are all these terrorist group, which are people, something like a bandit killing in southern Kaduna, which like herdsmen going all over southern Nigeria to kill, which is like all this influence of foreign mercenary. They all fall under this other event beyond our control. You see, so it is time we begin to let people understand that who are thinking that America will not be part, or we are relying on America. Listen to me. We are in a civilized world, in a global village, where America has become the power of the world. And as that, there is no way we can do without them. It is just a fact that you have to accept, whether you like it or not. And for those of you who are coming to say, why are you depending on these people? It is ignorant that is making you to think like that. Because when you know global politics, when you know what is going on in international politics, you will know that you need these countries, because you cannot be an island of your own. You have to go into treaties with countries. You have to make friends with countries and all that. So we need America. We need EU. We need Israel. We need United Kingdom. And believe me, it is also our responsibility to let the current United Kingdom know the thoughts and know what the previous British government did in 1960 something. It is our responsibility to let them know. This new generation of Brits that are coming up, it is our responsibility to let the MPs who do not have knowledge of Biafra Nigeria war, other than what they read in the newspaper that there was a war in Nigeria, it is our responsibility to sit them down, tell them what they should know, and allow them to do and carry out the responsibility for the interest of this generation of Britain. Now, let me continue. Likewise, though we are deeply concerned to save life and relieve suffering, we should avoid involvement in relief which implies in Africa or elsewhere that the U.S. has accepted responsibility for the people affected. You see? Now, we must therefore shield the U.S. from pressure for unwarranted or unwanted direct involvement on ground of little strategic concern, particularly a long-term and long-scale political, financial, and possibly even military responsibility for the survival of a new political entity in eastern Nigeria. So all this thing, America was, of course, laying their ground, as diplomatic as they can. The overriding U.S. concern is to save as many lives as possible. The distinct stomach of starving children and the tragic toll of life in tens, perhaps hundreds of thousands, outweigh any other consideration. You see? So now, America is telling Nigeria, this is one of the interests of America in this Nigeria Biafra war. They have made it very clear that the hundreds or thousands of children that may die, outweigh any other consideration, including trying to keep one Nigeria. Do you understand? Do you understand? This is why I said, when you are reading this document, you check the body language. You check the body language of America, and this was in 1969 on February 4th. Now, to the extent that we can, of course, we should keep in mind the important political consideration involved. We should try to organize the relief effort to minimize the problem they pose. This problem must not, however, be permitted to stand in the way of saving human life. You see, so both view of the U.S. interest recognize that the safety of 5,200 U.S. citizens in Nigeria could, in some circumstances, be at stake, and that the U.S. has an obligation to try to protect the $300 million in investment there. So America have over $300 million in investment in Nigeria as of then. Now tell me, do you know how much America investment do you have in Nigeria today? How do you protect that investment? That investment of America is not protected under a terrorist-controlled country. Do you understand? A terrorist-controlled country, your investment, the American investment can never ever be safe. They are not protected. So when we are talking about their interest and their investment is more protected, and most of the investment has been pulled out. But they have pulled out most of the investment. People have pulled out their investment from Nigeria because of the security issues and all that. Now, those holding to the second view usually contend, however, that we should sacrifice our investment in that proof necessary to increase the flow of food to the starving. And you see, some people are arguing that some of the American people were even arguing it is time to sacrifice their investment in Nigeria and support Biafra. You see that? So the body language not only did not suggest America turning to Biafra, but it also suggests that even people have beginning to campaign openly that America must sacrifice their business interests in Nigeria and save Biafra. You see, and the beginning it was they were turning towards that side, side when they approved when they turned the Gowon and his government down and approved the aircraft for the church relief. So it is an interesting read, going through all these documents to see what actually these nations were doing, how they were coming to a conclusion to support Biafra and all that. And all these things were happening. Our people had no knowledge about what was going on in America. Now, let us read. Some would go further and accept, if necessary, the U.S. government involvement and very real personal risk to our citizens that would be entailed in evacuating the American community. So they were even thinking about evacuating the American community from Nigeria and then go outrightly for Biafra. The national interest and policy choices in examining the full range of policy options to expedite the enlarged relief to Biafra, the first view of national interest suggests that we seek the tacit consent of both sides, if possible, and at least consent of the federal government. The second view considers the consent of either party important only insofar as it adds to our ability to get food to those who need it. In practice, the policy on question relief comes down to how much we are willing to override the interest of one of the parties and the real implication of the political risk for expanded relief that this would entail on both sides. The question mainly involves our policy towards federal government. The federal government acquiescence is necessary for peaceful access by land or air to relieve the greater human suffering on the Biafran side. So, when you are looking at this, of course, I'm not going into reading the whole document, but these are the secret documents that I will be releasing from time to time, different memos and all that, so that you will understand what was going on in America, how the American government, was beginning to think about Biafra. So now, I want to also let you understand, when we say that Nigeria breed criminals, we are not just saying it. When we say that Nigeria breed criminals, we are not saying it. It is not just, we are not just saying it. The truth is that Nigeria breed criminals. Nigeria breed criminals. Now, this is not the issue to be argued about. I want to show you now, what is going on in the NDDC. I told you that this broadcast is going to be very short. I will try as much as possible to make it very short. You know what was going on, or what is going on in the NDDC probe. You see a professor, like I said, for you to be a successful man, a successful politician, serving any government in Nigeria, you must be a criminal. And those who are, you see, parading themselves as the learned people, as the elite, as the intellectuals, whatever, they are all criminals. Most of them cannot even defend themselves. You can imagine a professor who is a professor he became professor by fraud, because I believe this man cannot be a professor and he cannot defend himself. He rather wants somebody who was sitting by his side to come and talk on his behalf. And these are the kind of professors that Nigeria produce. When they go abroad, they subject them to different kind of tests before they will be enrolled into university to do anything. This is what, go and check it. Any professor that is coming from Nigeria, you will go and they will subject you to another kind of test. It is to scrutinize your certificate before you can go and do what you want to do in those universities. And this is what these people have brought to Nigerians who are doing very well abroad. Now I want you to watch this.
The budget line in 2019 where you derive that power to spend that money? That's the question.
I'll provide that answer for you. I will check. I don't want to lie on that oath. I will provide the answer for you.
Andy.
Yes, sir.
I know you are a very learned person. You are one of the most learned person in this room.
You see, they call him the most learned person in this room. You understand? They call this man the most learned person in this room. He's a professor. He's a professor and acting managing director of the NDDC also. And they say he is the most learned person in that room. But look, because of the criminality in him, because he is able to maintain being an acting managing director because of the criminality in him. If he is pure, and if he is genuine, if he's not a product of criminality, he will not be there. He will not be sitting here today defending the impunity and corruption in the office he is serving. But because, corruption and the people asking the question are not also to be exempted from the people that are corrupt. You see, the people asking the question are criminals on their own. The one they are asking the question is a criminal on his own. And this thing cannot fight each other. You see, they cannot fight each other. You see, it is like going to native doctor to deliver you from the spirit of Obanje. You know what is Obanje? You go to native doctor, telling native doctor to deliver you from the Mami Water spirit. You think native doctor can deliver you? Native doctor can never deliver you from Mami Water spirit because he is serving the Mami Water. So what the native doctor will do is to suppress, suppress the presence of the spirit of Mami Water in you, to see that the spirit don't show up often. The native doctor will suppress the spirit by appeasing the spirit with sacrifices. Appeasing the spirit with sacrifices. That is not to say that after appeasing the spirit will disappear from you. No. The spirit cannot disappear from you. The spirit will be there. Only that the spirit will not be showing as it used to show. So this is what is happening in this thing. The people that are asking this question are all corrupt. If you open their own can, you will see all different kind of worm, and they are now probing another criminal. Now I want you to watch how a professor is responding to a critical question. A professor in Nigeria, a Nigeria professor. I want you to listen to a Nigeria professor. These are the kind of professors that they are bringing to regulation. They collect millions, regulation, irrespective of who is dying in their community. They don't care. Now watch.
You don't have answer for it now. Okay. It means you spent money. Can you agree with us? Will it be right for us to say that you did extra budgeted expenses, which was not budgeted for?
I will not say so. Let me ask my EDP to explain, because I don't want to. I think he has more facts concerning that.
You see, he is asking his EDP to explain. The person sitting beside him. He wants the person to represent him and speak for him. And he claimed to be a professor. Professor he bought with money. Professor he bought with money. Professor that was awarded to him from corruption, professor that doesn't merit, professor in Nigeria, just like this professor of Professor Sibanjo is there as a professor of law. He cannot speak out when impunity is going on in Nigeria. Professor of law, vice president, he is sitting and supervising impunity as a professor of law. Isn't that an insult to law profession? Professor of law was sitting and supervising a breach of the Constitution of 1999 as amended, Nigeria Constitution of 1999 amended, by appointing a particular section or a particular ethnic group from one of the region in Nigeria to overhead everything in the security, other parastatal, other sectors of the economy, and the professor of law is a vice president in breach of section 14 of 1999 Constitution as amended, that says that appointment must reflect the federal character system of Nigeria. The professor of law did not know the content of the Constitution of Nigeria, and he did not, speak up to protect the Constitution. And he is a professor of law. These are kind of the profession, the kind of professors that you see in Nigeria, and you wonder if a professor can be like this. What is ordinary graduate? What are we going to say about an ordinary graduate from Nigeria? Now watch.
So, let me ask my EDP to explain, because I don't want to. I think he has more facts concerning that.
Is he under oath?
Okay, it's not under oath. That's why I said I will provide the answer. I said I will provide the answer.
Now, Andy, you have the budget with you. The budget of 2019, you have it with you. Correct? And the 2019 budget, in which you have told this committee that is the budget you are operating on, you have it.
Mr. Chairman, I said I will provide the answer to you.
No. You have the budget with you.
In front of me, yes, sir.
The budget you are operating. 2019 budget.
I will provide the answer, Mr. Chairman, sir.
No.
We'll bring this to you, sir. We'll bring this to you. It will be sent to your committee. Yes.
Andy.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
Andy.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
The budget of 2019, you tendered it. Yeah. You tendered the budget of 2019.
Did you see? Are you watching?
I gave the letter.
That is not the budget. That's not the budget.
Professor don't know what is budget. Professor, of course, he knows. But, professor don't know what is budget. They say you presented the budget. He brought a letter covering the impunity and fraud they have committed. And when I say Nigeria breed criminals, have you seen it? They are furnishing me with evidence to prove my claim. Every day, Nigeria will continue to furnish me with a very good evidence to prove that Nigeria breed criminals. Now, if a professor can be doing this, what do you think about his students? What do you think about the institution where he became a professor? What do you think about that kind of institution? It's a rotten institution, and believe me, you have so many of them like this. The Nigeria breed criminals. So when you see that people are committing internet fraud, you think that it is because Nigeria is breeding them. Nigeria is encouraging it, and that is why we want a country. We don't want to be part of this criminal country. It is too much. Only you have 6 terrorist group. Only you have cyber criminals. Only you have kidnappers, bandits. Only you have corrupt officials. Only you are stealing from the people. Only you have poor people. Only you have become the poorest, the poverty capital of the world. Everything is in you. Bad. Everything bad, everything negative is in you. And you say we should be proud. You say we should carry passport, the green passport, and go to show that you are from Nigeria. It's a shame. It's a shame. And this is why everybody, you must rise up to fight till the last for you to get freedom from these people. And these are the kind of people that when they hear Biafra, they feel so threatened. When they hear Biafra, everything in them will rise up to fight against the word, against the mouth that speak Biafra. Now I want you to listen to where he's mentioning money.
The budget will sign for you in 2019. You have it here.
Okay, they said they're going to make up this. I thought we'll provide this to you.
Okay, you don't have the budget here.
Yes, I don't have it.
You don't have the budget
I
here.
don't have it here. It will be provided to you. But I don't know if other people will... Mr. Chairman, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Please. Mr. Chairman. My leaders and colleagues. Mr. with your permission, may I request that the clerk of the secretariat furnishes this gentleman a copy of the budget we approved for him. If you are not harmed, because I've read the letter given to you, you have various documents that you are asked to furnish this committee. So if you don't have the budget here, we have a committee on library and research. The clerk, please get us a copy of the 2019 approved budget for the acting MD. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, no, I'm coming. I'm coming. Please, my honorable colleagues, I would love the chairman to allow the acting MD to ask the other person to take an oath so that he can answer the question, not to wait for him.
Did you hear that? Somebody already started advocating for him, saying that they should allow the young man sitting beside the professor to answer on behalf of the professor, who is the managing director of the acting managing director of the NDDC. You see, and this is probably the man that replaced the woman who refused to sign a forged document, who refused to go into accepting to loot money as Ekpa Biafra directed. So as they removed the woman, then now Ekpa Biafra made sure that he appointed this one who have graduated from criminality, who have graduated from crime from the university where he obtained a fake professorship. And now he's parading himself as a professor, because if this is a professor, this is a disgrace to entire professors in Nigeria. The Nigeria professor is as fake as anything. Now watch.
See, MD, my leaders and colleagues, pursuant to Section 20, it is the MD.
Yeah.
They have business with them. Yeah. Excuse me, sir, don't worry, sir. We will help you. We will help you to get to that everybody gets justice here. Madam Clerk, let's have a copy of the approved budget. Then, Mr. Chairman, colleagues, we'll now begin to look at all the expenditure he has incurred, whether they are contained in the budget or not. And if the debts you are paying, if they are captured in the budget, we also see it there. It is then we can come to a conclusion. A procurement editorial is like there.
Did you know how much? Did you know how much they spend? Did you see how much they spend? They say they spend about 1.32 billion. This NDDC, 1.32 billion on COVID-19 palliative. My people, where did you see any item shared in entire riverine area worth 1 million? I have not seen no. If you see anywhere where NDDC shared palliative during the COVID-19, bring the video. But here, they have already made a claim of spending 1.32 billion. Now look at it, 1.32 billion on palliative. Now look at it.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. MD, please. From the reports that you have given, the financial report, Acting MD, from the financial report, how much did you receive anytime? How much did you receive from the time this interim management committee has been set up? How much has the interim management committee received? There's no its own committee. Yes.
How much have you received? You don't know. And he claims to be an accountant. He claimed to be an accountant, probably professor of accountant, who knows. They asked him, how much have you received? You don't know. He began to mention somebody who is a professor, about 4 billion. Is it about 4 billion or about 40 billion? Somebody who is a professor who have graduated from secondary school. He went to university, graduated from university. He went and do masters. He did this and did that. And then he become, according to the man who is questioning him, the most educated person in that room. And now they asked him, how much have you collected? He could not tell. And he prepared for this panel. And then he couldn't tell how much he has collected from this NDDC. Apart from that, he began to make a very, very unbelievable utterances. He said he has collected about. How can you be a professor? You are an accountant. You are a managing director of something. They ask you how much you collect. You say about. What is about? It's about a figure. Now listen to him.
From the federal government's remittances. In total, I'm trying to break down. We get about 6.4 billion monthly, which stopped in June. We've not done anything since June. Then we have some payments from the oil companies, very little.
Can you imagine?
I computed it before, but
MD.
Yes, sir.
You are the chief accounting officer of the commission.
I agree with you, sir.
You hear that? Chief accounting officer of the commission. Did you hear that? Chief accounting officer of the commission. As a professor, if chief accounting officer of the commission cannot answer question about how much they have collected, is it the lower accounting officer that is going to answer it? If the chief officer, accounting officer, a professor, could not answer the question, is it the one sitting by the side of him, by his side, is going to answer the question? And these are the people that when you talk about Biafra, they want to send thunder upon you. You see, anybody that is talking against Biafra, check him, check her. Anybody that is speaking one Nigeria, check him, check her. He is a criminal. She is a criminal. She is benefiting from the criminality in Nigeria. The person, he or she, is benefiting from the fraud going on in Nigeria. So that is why when they hear Biafra, they want to send thunder on you. You think that this man will hear Biafra and listen to you? This man will hear Biafra. He will be the last person that want to hear Biafra from you. This man. He will be the last person. So anybody that is telling you about one Nigeria, go and check him. Check her. She is benefiting in a very, very fraudulent something in Nigeria. If it is not the fraud of the government fraud, he's benefiting from the private fraud. Go and check it. And that is why they will tell you, let me tell you one thing today. I want to make something very clear today. I want this to be on quotes. I want this to be on my quotes. I want you to, this is what I'm about to say now. I want it to be on my quote. You see, when they tell you that that IPOB or Biafra Nigeria or Biafra agitators are miscreant. Do you know why? They call them miscreant because these are people who have been delivered from the spirit of Nigeria, from the criminality spirit, from crime spirit, from corruption spirit. Anybody fighting for freedom of Biafra has been delivered from corruption. So, for you not to be corrupt, you become a miscreant to them. If you are shouting for Biafra, even with a good job, you become a miscreant. They don't, you know, some of them are telling me, somebody like me, to go and get a job. You know, some of them, they come to my page to say, go and get a job. Although they are not saying it now for a very long time. But, you know, when I started, there are some of them come to my page to say, go and get a job. And I look at them, I look at the people telling me to go and get a job. I don't know whether I look like somebody who is jobless to them, or I don't know where it is coming from. But they call you miscreant because they know you cannot be as criminal as them. And they know you cannot be shouting for Biafra and you find yourself in a position where you are looting Nigeria. So the treasury, a possible looting of wherever you find yourself. So this is why they call you miscreant. So it is not miscreant in the sense that you are not working. No, no, no. It is a miscreant of the looting. You are not part of the fraud. So anybody shouting One Nigeria today, if they call you miscreant, call them criminals. Because it is only criminal that is benefiting from the criminality in Nigeria are the ones supporting. You do not, if you are not benefiting from Nigeria, you can't shout One Nigeria. No, tell me, what is it? What is it to have Nigeria done for you? Ask the person telling you One Nigeria, what has the Nigeria done for him? It is either his brother is a senator, is either his uncle is a House of Representative, is either he is be a thug to one of the politicians, or he is a follower of one politician and the politician is giving them 2,000 every month or something like that. And once you are collecting 2,000 from the politician, you are already a criminal. You are part of them. So when you hear Biafra, you want to lose your is it your 2,000 you want to lose? They tell you, this Biafra, forgetting that Biafra will make you not to even want to collect 2,000 from somebody. So this is what they don't know. So when they see everybody agitating for Biafra, they say miscreant, miscreant, miscreant. We don't know where the miscreant is coming from. But like I'm telling you today, these are the kind of people that will call you miscreant because he is looting in billion. He is stealing in billion without gun, without AK-47, without going to take risk and take bullet. No, he sits in his office, take the money that belongs to his people, and he will tell you to hell with Biafra. He will send you thunder when you talk about Biafra because you want to make him, you want to take away the office from him where he is stealing the money. So you see, so anybody that you know, that don't ask why is the person getting angry or something? Because that person is benefiting from the fraud that is going on in Nigeria.
How much have you received? This interim management committee, how much have you received so far?
So far, this interim management committee will have received about 72 billion.
Did you hear that? About. And his chief accounting officer, he is using word about. Giving account of what he has collected, he said about 72 billion. Did you hear that? About 72 billion. B. Everything now is B. Nigeria no longer loot million, 100 million, 200 million. No, no, no. Everything is about billion. Now listen.
Mr. Chairman
of the Commission,
I agree with you, sir.
How much have you received? This interim management committee, how much have you received so far?
So far, this interim management committee will have received about 72 billion. Mr. Chairman, in accounting parlance, we don't say about 2 plus 2 is 4. So, Acting MD, with documentary evidence, I will provide that. No, sir, excuse me, sir. If you don't have them here, then we are being ambushed. They will not be able to do anything. So we have to speak to records. No meanders. Let us speak to records. Your DFA should be handy, should be around you here to support it, to help you.
You see, these are the people that tell you, that are telling their people they cannot be part of Biafra. You see, because they know that their people cannot rise up against them. They know that their people, it is really unbelievable. You see, Akpabio is paying 70 million to go and bomb pipeline. So when you are hearing 70 million, I will pay you today, go and bomb pipeline. You don't know where the money is coming from? This is where the money is coming from. The money is coming from, you see, 70 billion. I told you, people, Akpabio will take 70 million to pay to the criminals to go and bomb the pipeline, and they will use 1 billion to repair the pipeline. And in repairing that pipeline, they will not spend more than 100 or 200 million to repair the pipeline. The other one, they pocket them. You see now? So you see how they use you. And when we talk about Biafra, so that you will be liberated, you can have good hospital, you can have good road, you can have good school, social amenity, you have a job, you have a social service, you are secured, you say no to dominate you. Look at the people that are, brainwashing you into not buying the idea of Biafra. This is what they do to you. And tomorrow, when they call for celebration, if they are doing marriage, if they are celebrating their daughter's birthday, they invite you. You go there and drink yourself to stupor on your money. You go there, you will say, oh, this man, our man, you hail him. But he is sitting on your hospital. He is sitting on your good road. He is sitting on your schools. He is sitting on the scholarship that could send your entire village to London to study and come back and become professionals. He is sitting on them. And when we talk about Biafra, because you know Biafra is going to liberate you, yet they say, don't go there because these Igbo people, they are dominating you, they are dominating you. Who is doing this now? Your own brothers. Sitting on billions. And there is nothing to show for it. Wickedness. Wickedness. So you see, the people that are shouting for total freedom of Biafra are the people that will save you at the end of the day.
You came on board in February. Between February and July, or June, let's say June, how much have you received from various sources? I don't know if it's a You paid AKMD. You paid 641 million naira. 641 million to Clear Point Communication. You paid to them as the MD. What are the money meant out of the 2.5 billion naira that is in for the forensic audit in the 2019 budget?
Did you hear that? 2.2 billion for forensic audit. These people are paying. Or did I not hear him well? Did I not hear him well? Did I not hear him well? Wait, oh.
It's part of the 2.5 billion naira that is in for the forensic audit in the 2019 budget. I can't hear you well.
Say, I can't hear you well.
Andy, speak up. For the 2019 budget, there was a proposal for 2.5 billion for the forensic audit, out of which about 1.2 was approved.
You hear that? 1.2 billion to be paid for forensic audit of a budget. 1.2 billion paid to somebody or for some company for forensic audit. 1.2 billion approved, and they paid 640 something million for audit, forensic audit of budget. So Nigeria is gone. You see why they don't want you to get Biafra. You see why these people... So anybody that say he's against Biafra, go and investigate him. He's a criminal. He's a criminal. And then, of course, I'm not going to play this video today, or the complete video. I'm going to play it tomorrow. I will play it tomorrow in my tomorrow broadcast, not today, because I said I don't have much time. Let me play the fainting video. You know, I was telling
operating
people,
is the 2019 budget, which, as you know and as we know,
I was telling people that it is time we play the music. You know, the music that rained one time ago. This fainting music. People would dance, they faint. They dance, and they faint. And this fainting now, they must bring him back. They must bring him back, because what they did was somebody, you know, they have told him faint, and so that they will take you away. He did not faint. He did not faint. It was acting. I want to show you the first aid ever extra.
Ended May 31st, 2020. We are now in July, so you are expected to be spending money from budget 2019 has expired. From where are you going to spend this money you said on oath that you are preparing to pay students who are on scholarship?
One moment.
Operating is the 2019 budget, which, as you know and as we know, ended May 31st, 2020. We are now in July.
I think this page is being attacked or something, because I don't understand why the video is not playing.
July. So you are not expected to be spending money from budget 2019 has expired. From where are you going to spend this money you are operating is the 2019 budget, which, as you know and as we know, ended May 31st, 2020. We are now in July, so you are not expected to be spending money from budget 2019 has expired. From where are you going to spend this money you said here on oath that you are preparing to pay students? Wow. Are you aware that every expenditure you make from 31st May till date are not
the video is giving some problem. Now watch. I don't know why the video is running. Look the person. Look the person who is fainting. Look the person who is fainting. Look his hand. Look his hand here. Look his hand. He says he's fainting. He's using his hand to prevent the person from breaking his jaw. Who says he's unconscious, use his own hand to prevent somebody who want to break his jaw. Did you see it? Did you see it? See the hand. Somebody, if you want to faint, you just faint straight. If you want to faint, you faint straight. Now, because he cannot defend himself, because he didn't know. If Facebook attack you, don't worry. Tomorrow is when I'm going to do justice to this. If somebody is not because of the criminality, because of the crime he has committed, the fraud he has committed, he don't know what to do. He don't know amount as an accountant and as a professor. He know nothing. And I'm telling you, After this incident, the professorship should be taken away from this man. Because this is a disgrace. This is the highest disgrace ever to professorship. Whoever know the institution where this man obtained his professor should let us know. Public, we need to begin to write and bombard the school. This is a disgrace. This man is not qualified. He's a criminal. He's just as a Akpao that will do everything to kill Goodluck Jonathan, because Goodluck Jonathan wanted to do something good and they did everything to kill him. They sabotage everything. These are the people that when you talk about Biafra, they want to bring the rain upon you. So this man, the school where he obtained this professorship must be investigated, because this is a scam, is a fraud. It is a disgrace, or the highest disgrace ever we have seen. Now when you look at the hand, those person who is fainting can have will be able to have his hand, protecting the people who want to break his jaw. Look him with the hand. Look his hand. Look the hand. You see it? You see the hand? He's grabbing the person. He's grabbing the person who wanted to save him. Does this man look like somebody who is fainting? Look the hand. Look the hand. Look the hand. You see it? Does it look like somebody who want to faint? Now, I want to play. Does it look like somebody who want to faint? You see, anything they cannot hide from us. That's the one thing. We will go deep to dig out everything. They can never hide from us. These criminals who every time you talk about Biafra, they want to bring thunder on you because they are milking and stealing Nigeria, stealing from the people that they should protect, stealing from their own community. If you go to Ogoni land, you are going to shed tears. You are going to cry. If you go to where this man come from, you are going to cry. But look at the amount he's mentioning here. Look at the amount he's mentioning, billions, 70 billions, 50 billion, 30 billion, and all that. And there is nothing, there is no road in his community. There is no road. Everything in the community is like hair. No school. If I show you the school in Ogun, in their land, you will cry. So when we talk about Biafra, this will be the people that will be telling those people in our reverend brother that, oh, don't listen to them, don't listen to these Biafra people. They just want to dominate us. They want to take our oil. You see, and David Clark is writing that he has served Nigeria for 72 years or so. Or how many years, I don't know. These are the kind of people that our reverend brothers are listening to. You see? And when you begin to expose all of them, you will, in fact, you will run mad. You will run mad. Now, let us watch.
Is it drama? Listen.
You see somebody that is fainting. See.
them take it.
Yes,